Good day, students. For our first video lesson on our subject, General Biology 2, let us discuss mechanisms that produce change in populations. This topic will have several parts, so I will have to post multiple videos for this. But before we proceed to the actual lesson, let me first inform you that I did not originally plan to conduct our lessons asynchronously. Unfortunately, there are certain tasks that we have to do first, so I will just record this now so that I can just upload this if I am once again not available during our schedule next week. For the content standard of our lesson, the learners demonstrate understanding of relevance, mechanisms, evidence or basis, and theories of evolution. For your learning competencies, you should be able to, number one, explain that genetic variation is the prerequisite and should therefore be present for any genetic process to cause change in populations from generation to generation. Number two, state the Hardy-Weinberg principle, and number three, enumerate the conditions that should be present for a gene or in a larger scale, a population to attain Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. For the part 1 of our video lesson, we are going to discuss about the important terms about mechanisms that produce change in populations. The first word that we have is evolution. By definition, evolution is the change in a population's genetic makeup or DNA over generations, meaning the change in the organism's DNA did not happen sporadically, but is observed for a long period of time. As you can see, we have here pictures of whales. The one on the left is a prehistoric whale that is estimated to have lived about 35 million years ago. The one on the right is the current appearance of a whale today, of a blue whale. The change in the whale's appearance happened not only to an individual, but to a large population of whales, and it was maintained for a long period of time. And also, you have to remember that the change from pictures on the left to the right did not happen um, fast, but is gradual. The second word is mutation. Mutation is the change in an organism's DNA or RNA nucleotide sequence. This is often taken as an abnormality that can be observed when an organism is different from its parents. There are some common human mutations that is familiar to us, and one of them is the trisomy 21, where there is an excess piece of chromosome number 21 in the individual. So instead of having only a pair of chromosome number 21, there is an extra piece of that chromosome. For a mutation to happen, the change should occur in an organism's DNA. The change can happen even before the conception of the offspring if the DNA of one parent already has it, or it can happen during and after the fertilization or during earlier developmental stages of that organism. Our third term is natural selection. Natural selection is a theory originally developed by Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace. It was Darwin, however, who made it more popular when he published his book on the origin of species. The meaning of natural selection is the preferential survival and reproduction or preferential elimination of individuals with certain genotypes by means of natural or artificial controlling factors. Pansinin ang phrases na preferential survival at preferential elimination. Sa preferential survival, merong genes na sadyang na-maintain ang organisms or population of that organism dahil ito ay beneficial or nakakatulong para sila ay mas mag-survive at makapag-reproduce. Ang preferential elimination naman ay ang pagkawala ng mga traits or characteristics na hindi kapaki-pakinabang o wala ng gamit para sa isang organism. Dito papasok ang concept na survival of the fittest and adaptation. The gene pool simply means the copies of all the genes in a population. Next term is allele frequency. It refers to how common an allele is in a population or how frequent a certain trait or characteristic occurs in population. Genetic drift means change in allele frequency because of chance. The microevolution means a change in the frequency of gene variants, alleles in a population, typically occurring over a relatively short period of time. Gene flow or migration. It means the transfer of alleles from one population to another, resulting from the movement of fertile individuals or their gametes. For a better understanding of gene flow or migration, let us have this example. We have two types of birds population, the population A and B. These two populations of birds live in two different places and they also have different genotype. Population A contains homozygous or same pairs of alleles for a certain dominant trait, and population B has a homozygous alleles for a recessive trait. Ngayon, pag sinabi nating dominant allele, ito ang allele na mas nag-express or lumalabas sa isang individual. Ang recessive trait or recessive allele naman ay ang mas mahina or less expressed trait. What will happen if population A transfers or migrates to the area where population B lives? Gene flow or the exchange of genes between these populations will happen. Their offsprings will have heterozygous alleles for their genes. What trait will be expressed upon birth? That is of the population A's dominant traits. The exchange of genes will also happen if population B transfers to the area of population A, but population A's traits will still be the one that is going to be expressed because, again, of their genes' dominance. Population genetics is the field of biology that studies allele frequencies in populations and how they change over time. This branch of biology also takes into account the changes in populations' genetic makeup to learn about evolutionary biology.